In this workshop, I'm going to show you how to make 2D felted creations really easily. My name is Charlotte Allen and you've reached my channel, The Felting Alchemist. So today I'm going to show you my really simple trick to creating pretty much anything you want in a 2D form. I started felting many years ago. A lot of people told me how to create 2D art by basically taking something like a cookie cutter and a brush mat and then placing the cookie cutter on your brush mat, putting your wall inside and then using your felting needle to then felt it down into your cookie cutter. Now I did try this technique and I did struggle with it, and the reason I struggled with it was because I always found that I was hitting kind of like the outside, especially if it was something like star shape like this where you've got lots of different angles that you need to get in on. I was hitting my needles into the plastic and I could never really get a really sharp edge to it. I really struggled with it, so I came up with my own technique, and rather than using the cookie cutter technique I started creating templates freehand and then using things to draw around. So I'd use cookie cutters to draw around stuff if I wanted to get a specific shape, but I'd also do freehand things to make things like gingerbread men and stuff like that. So using these cardboard templates you can pretty much make anything you want. The possibilities are limitless with this, so I'm going to show you now how I do this so you can replicate it in your own work. See you in a bit. So this is how I create anything 2D in my needle felting. So the first thing I want to do is grab some wool bats, and I've just got some purple wool bats here, and you want it to be relatively even in terms of the thicknesses. So I'm just using my fingers to just splay it out, and I'm probably just going to pop some more on top as well, like so. So once the wool's in place, I'm just going to take my 7 needle multi-tool, and in here I've just got 7 fine triangular needles, and I'm just going to stab this down onto my brush mat, and then I'm just going to flip it over and do the same thing on the other side until you've got a piece of felt that looks like this. So now we've got our kind of piece of material that we've felted with our multi-tool. So the next thing you want to do is make a template. So you can either draw around something like a cookie cutter or another shape, or you can freehand something if you're really good at drawing. So I do some freehand stuff, but it takes me quite a long time because my drawing skills aren't brilliant. So from this cookie cutter I've made this star template, and all I'm going to do is hold it over the wool that I've just felted down, and then I'm just going to cut around the edge. And you want it to be reasonably accurate, but if it's not, don't worry, it's not a problem. So you want to snip all the way around until you've got this. So here we have our star cut out, so we're halfway there. This is how quick this technique is. So the next thing you want to do is you want to take some more of the purple wool, same colour, or you could use a different colour if you want to create more of an ombre look. Again, splay it out. This doesn't need to be particularly thick, this piece, but you want to make sure that the wool goes past the edges of the piece that you've just cut out. I'm going to hold this on top, and then I'm just going to felt this down, concentrating on the central portion of the star. And keep felting until the wool has attached itself to the star with the needles. So now we have the star attached to our wool, and I've just pulled away a little bit of the excess here because we don't want too much excess, because then it becomes a bit of a nightmare to then fold everything over. So what we want to do now is seal these raw edges in that we've cut, because obviously at the moment they're all raw and the wool could come undone from it. So I'm just going to take my embroidery scissors and I'm just going to do a little snip just down these parts of the wool here where the star goes inwards, like so. And then I'm just going to take my multi-tool again, and I'm just going to felt these pieces of wool into position over what we've just added, like so. The next thing we want to do is we want to go over to our felting mat. So now we're on the felting mat, what we want to do is just take our needles. I've got some fine twisted needles in here, and I'm just going to sharpen up those edges by just felting on an angle. So I'm going into the mat, I'm not going to stab myself, but on an angle into the felting mat just to create more shape with my star. Going down all those sides, felting any looseness into the star, and just be conscious that you want to keep lifting it as well because you don't want it to adhere to your mat. So just keep lifting it up as you're felting it to stop that from happening, because sometimes what will happen is you'll end up with this star and it'll be sort of stuck to your mat, and then you've got to pull it off and you'll end up with all sorts of horrible strands and things like that you don't want. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now you can see here I've got this end here that's not really looking very symmetrical to the rest, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to snip it with my embroidery scissors to get it looking the same. And then I can just go back to my felting brush mat and just felt a little bit of wool over there to lock it in place again. So it's not a big deal if anything like that happens. So if you have had to trim your star, all you need to do is just take a little bit more of that wool that we were using before, place it over the part of the star that you've trimmed, and then just again take your 7 needle multi-tool and felt it back down. And just lock those rough edges, those raw edges into place with the wool, like so. And if you need to, you can go back to your mat just to shape things up a bit and sharpen things up, like so. Just get rid of any of those wispy edges. But that is your star. So I hope you found that useful. I use this technique all of the time when I'm creating my 2D work. I've created my gingerbread men using this technique, butterflies, all sorts of things, hearts. So it's a really versatile way of creating work really easily. I really hope you found this workshop useful. Please try this technique out, because I think you'll find that it's really super easy to do. And like I said, the possibilities are endless. You can make all kinds of things using this technique, whereas using cookie cutters, you're a lot more limited to what cookie cutters are out there to use. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I will see you again tomorrow with more felting hints and tips. See you then. Bye.